Malden City Council is hereby returned from recess, and the call to order is hereby called. First of all, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance, so all rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing so we can take a moment of silence in honor of our veterans, servicemen and women, and those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Clerk will call the roll, and just as a note, Councilor Spatafora will be participating remotely. So all votes will be made by in roll call. Thank you.
Assuming he gets here. He's
Okay.
not here yet, but we will be
Okay.
fluid with that. Councilor Cologne Hayes. Here. Councilor Condon. Here. Councilor Crowe. Here. Councilor Linehan. Here. Councilor McDonald. Councilor O'Malley. Here. Councilor Seega. Here. Councilor Simonelli. Councilor Spatafora. Councilor Taylor. Here. Council President Winslow.
Here. We have a quorum present. Under the provisions of open meeting law, for those of you in attendance, please be informed that Urban Media Arts will be recording this evening's meeting. So just be aware there will be an audio and video recording of this meeting. And then first order of business.
Paper 307-24, mayoral appointment. Barbara M. Murphy of 28 Forest Street, Malden, as police commissioner to fulfill the term left vacant by the passing of Salvatore Butch, Genetti. Said term to commence upon confirmation by the City Council and to expire on March 1st, 2026. Confirmation required. And can I just report that we did get a number of emails on this paper? 8 emails were stating opposition to the process for which the candidate has been brought forth tonight, and 8 emails were written in support of Ms. Murphy as the police commissioner.
So, and did we get a chance to forward those to the council?
Most, if not all of them, should have been seen by the council. They've all been attached to the history of paper 307 for public review.
Okay, all right, so they're in the record then. So let me see. Right, so the paper is before us. Let me see.
I'm just noticing Councilor Spatafora's signing on as well. So
why don't we, Councilor Spatafora's there.
Okay.
Councilor Spatafora's, you are there. So I first have Councilor Seega. I will recognize Councilor Seega.
Thank you, Council President. Before we started to debate this paper, I was wondering if everybody would agree if the chief came up and gave us a little statement before.
Can I talk on that?
Do you have an objection to the chief speaking?
To her point, I'd like to speak on it.
I mean, under our rules, if there's consent, then
I don't have an objection.
Okay.
I'd like to speak on that specific topic.
okay. Well, we'll give you a quick, but yeah, I mean, otherwise I can take it as consent. We'll have the chief go. All right.
To Councilor Seeka's point, I think it would be great to hear from the chief, and I would gladly support that. We do have a lot of people in the audience tonight, and I know that this is a continuation of our last meeting because we recessed. So I would like to move, after we hear from the chief, to allow public comment. I mean, this is what it's here for. I would love to hear from everyone in the room. So I would support your motion, and I would just move that we allow public comment tonight. Thank you.
I understand that, Councilor O'Malley, but we really are in a pretty tight time crunch here. So if you start allowing public comment, then
we're not debating that right at the moment, Councilor Seega. So let's have Chief Cronin come up to the podium, and then we will we'll go from there. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Yeah, hit the button. Let's see. All right, it's not coming up for some reason. All right. Oh, did they move the mic for the planning board meeting? All right, so.
try to turn on Craig Spatafora's microphone and see if it works.
All right, yeah, so, all right, sorry about that, Chief, but yeah, all right, okay. So maybe there was some rearrangement, okay. All right.
All right.
Great, all right, good observation, Councilor Taylor. All right, great. Go ahead, Chief.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
That's better. All right. Councilor Sika, I had a feeling I might be called up here, so I have a few notes here already. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the commissioner's function within the city. The commissioner, also known as the appointing authority, authorizes all civil service actions as far as layoffs, hiring, promotions, discipline. Any civil service-related paperwork the commissioner signs off on. He or she attends all swearing-in ceremonies, retirement ceremonies, promotional ceremonies. Now, with accreditation, we've been recently accredited by the Mass Police Accreditation Council. The commissioner signs off on every policy, and I'm proud to say that we have hundreds of best practice policies now that the Malden Police Department adheres to, thanks to the effort and work of these officers behind me. So that's also another area that's crucial for the commissioner, for an I to communicate about often, these policies. So ultimately, the commissioner will sign off on all of those. In addition to that, since Mayor Christensen has been mayor, we've had a weekly crime meeting every week that involves the police chief, the mayor, and the commissioner. We go over crime stats during the week, patterns that are, that are evolving and things like that. So just so there's a clear line of communication. Another crucial role of the commissioner is when it comes to a grievance process. This is a good thing because now we have a neutral third party who's not necessarily a police officer, it's a resident, a citizen of Malden, who, when it gets to my level, if an officer files a grievance, which never happens with this group because they're all fully committed, it would come to my desk. I would do my best to resolve that grievance, and if I can't, the next step would go to the police commissioner. The police commissioner would do the same thing. He would listen, or she would listen to both sides of the argument, weigh it, and do the best he or she can do to resolve it. If the commissioner can't resolve it, it now goes to the mayor. The mayor does the same process. If the mayor is not able to do it, it now goes to arbitration. So that's just another crucial role that the commissioner, takes part in. And if I could for a minute just talk about how my job intersects with the commissioner's job in Malden here. I think that's important for everybody to know. My job is to oversee the day-to-day operational needs of the Malden Police Department and the Malden Police officers. And this policing has become more and more and more complicated day by day. So with that, every day there are legal analysis that have to be done. Tactical situations. I have a great tactical team that I rely on heavily in those situations. My roles are a lot of my planning and organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, budgeting, and a slew of other functions that come up every day. And where that intersects with the commissioner is that there is constant communication between myself and the police commissioner. And I'm not boasting by any means, believe me, there are a lot of people in this room that are a lot smarter than me, but I would talk with the commissioner, let the commissioner know what these policies involve and what they mean and why we need them. So that's kind of where we intersect. And if I could change gears for a minute, I just want to talk about, mayors. Mayors have always, in Malden, chosen a person from the community, a resident, that has proven leadership in the community. And with that, that person would accentuate the positive in their role as commissioner within the PD. Also, Mayor Christensen has the exclusive power of nomination, and that's by city charter. So his process is driven by the city charter when it comes to choose or nominate a commissioner. And I completely support his nomination of Ms. Barbara Murphy for commissioner. And by the way, if Barbara Murphy is confirmed here tonight, she will be the first female commissioner in the history of the city of Malden, so I think that's quite an accomplishment. So hopefully that happens. Another area I was going to talk about is just, I've heard some chatter about the commissioner have to have a law enforcement background. Anybody that says that, for lack of a better term, is misinformed. Since 1911, when we had our first commissioner, we've had 21 commissioners. 20 of them have had absolutely no law enforcement experience, with the exception of our beloved late Commissioner Butch Genetti. So, and if you could indulge me for a minute, I just want to give you a short list of former, commissioners and what they did for work, what they did for a living. Prior to Commissioner Genetti, we had a longtime Commissioner Anthony Tony Spadafora, who had an exceptional political career at the state and very successful businessman. Prior to that, we had Ed Norton, commissioner. He managed the Irish American. He had no law enforcement experience. Commissioner David Balfour owned a badge company, no law enforcement experience. Commissioner William Davidson owned a trucking company, no law enforcement experience. Commissioner James Casey, Dr. Casey was an optometrist in Malden Square. Many of you may have known where his office was. No law enforcement experience. And lastly, and I thought this was, this information was brought to me by a local Malden historian, Kevin Alkins. Commissioner John Sheehan owned a restaurant in Marblehead, and it was known as Molly Waldo. So thanks for that information, Kevin. The reason I brought that up is just to show you that there is no connection between the commissions and having a law enforcement background. And I do want to point out, you know, the support of Barbara's confirmation by the Malden Police Department. These officers are here for that very reason. They support the nomination of Mrs. Murphy for the commissioner. And while I'm at it, I figured I'd take this opportunity to thank these officers and detectives that are here tonight for their selflessness when they're protecting and serving this community. They do this often at their own peril, and I can't say I'm more proud to have the team that I work beside with me right here tonight. So I want to thank all of them for that. And lastly, I want to thank Mayor Christensen and the City Council for the work that you do, and I know that it's not easy, but the work that you do every day to move the city forward and to keep us as the shining examples for other cities to follow or emulate. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. So I have, I don't know, I have Councilor Colin Hayes. Councilor Colin Hayes, go ahead and you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for that, Chief. Really appreciate it. You know, we have a good relationship, and I like that I can call and get advice from you, which I did on this as well. I'm going to just read something quick that I put on my Facebook page, because this will be a lot easier to do so I don't forget anything, because it certainly is not about former Councilor Barbara Murphy at all. So what I wrote on here is at this City Council meeting this evening will involve a vote to confirm the police commissioner. The role is significant, as it includes an appointment of the key figure, the police chief in our city. In contrast, the police commissioner's appointment necessitates confirmation by the council, which highlights our duty to approach this matter with diligence. I believe in transparency and fairness, and the process lacks openness and fair consideration through interviews. This is a matter of adhering to a proper procedure rather than a personal preference. There's ample time to evaluate candidates, and if Ms. Murphy emerges as top choice following a transparent process, I would happily confirm her. Although I had a positive working relationship with Ms. Murphy in the past, the critical nature of this role necessitates an open selection process. Advocating for transparency and accountability in our government has always been my priority since assuming office, and I will continue to do so. Leading the advisory group for the Obama's Pledge at the mayor's request, that enabled me to delve into the policies on the use of force. This engagement led to the establishment of the Police Community Advisory Council, the PCAC, which is gearing up to meet this summer. The PCAC members were appointed by the mayor without requiring council approval, but the selection process was conducted openly and with public postings and interviews. I believe that the new PCAC could play a pivotal role in the selection of the new police commissioner. So I wanted to read that because I wanted to make it clear that it was not, I have full confidence in you to do the job. It is really about the process and not the person. So unfortunately, I'm going to be voting no on this, but only because there was not an open process for it, not because of anything to do with your abilities, and I would hope you would do the same if you were up here. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hayes. I know Councilor Murphy is here. Would people like to hear from Councilor Murphy in a statement? So if councilors will defer, Councilor Murphy, I ask you. What? All right, so with everybody's consent, Councilor Murphy, come and speak, please. Great, thank you.
Thank you. It's very different to be standing on this side. So just for the record, I want to say my name is Barbara Murphy. I live at 28 Forest Street in Malden, Massachusetts. Malden is really the only place I've ever called home, and I'm very proud to say that. I stand here tonight excited about the opportunity to work with the Malden Police Department in our community in a new capacity as the police commissioner. But I believe it's very important tonight to note the unexpected nature of this appointment is due to the passing of Commissioner Salvatore Genetti. Butchie, as we all know him, served the community in multiple ways over a lifetime of public committed service to the residents of Malden. I want to recognize that his passing leaves a void in so many ways, in so many platforms, and there's very big shoes to fill from that. I've always been a strong supporter of the police department and the way that they provide for our public safety. I believe in Malden we truly have one of the, if not the finest, police department in the area. I wish to continue that process and additionally look forward to supporting the newly established Police Community Advisory Committee in whatever way is most beneficial to them. As Councilor Cologne-Hayes said, they're just meeting for the first time. So they're going to be evolving and growing as a body over the next coming months and years. And if I am appointed tonight, Police Commissioner, I will participate with them in whatever capacity they would like me to in order to help them move forward in their mission in that particular role. My background is both in public and the public and private sectors. I believe this is what qualifies me for this position. I bring strong management, operational, and financial skills, as well as an understanding of the municipal government. After serving 7 terms as a city councilor, I have an intimate knowledge of the Malden community. All of this combined will allow me to bring a unique viewpoint to the position. I believe that my professional civilian background, combined with Chief Cronin's law enforcement background, will provide for a complete overview and perspective on the safety needs of the city of Malden. Being appointed as the police commissioner is an honor and will provide me an opportunity to continue offering my services to the community. I want to thank Mayor Christensen for this opportunity. Now take any questions anyone has.
All right, I have Councilor Sika up.
I don't have a question for Barbara.
Okay.
I'm already on my way on.
All right, so then Councilor Condon, do you have a question? Okay. Okay,
I'm sorry,
Councilor
what?
O'Malley?
Words when he gives me a chance.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, Councilor O'Malley, do you want to save words or do you want to ask questions? All right, Councilor Condon.
I didn't prepare anything tonight, but I've been up here, I guess, quite a long time, maybe too long, but it's my 17th term, and most of those police commissioners that you mentioned, one was as good as the next. It's difficult even being here thinking about replacing Butch Genetti, but it goes back so long, and that wasn't the first qualification that someone had to be a law enforcement person. Everybody served this community with dignity and respected the police and respected the community. So I'm so pleased when I heard your name was coming up, because you are probably one of the city council, and I've been fortunate enough to serve with over 50 to 60 city councils over the years, but I never respected anyone any more than I respect you. You say it like it is, you're fair, and you're very much up on everything that comes before this council. You made so many positive changes up here. I'll never forget all the changes you made. And we learned a lot from you as our leader. And for that reason, I can't see anybody not having a problem with appointing Barbara Murphy as our next police commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Condon. Councilor O'Malley, do you want to take the next?
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Murphy, for your attendance. I appreciate it. You know, I think that, you know, your time on the council does make you uniquely qualified to know the problems that we face as a community, which I think is probably unique. I don't think there's a lot of people in the city who truly understand the financial challenges that we face, the, you know, operational challenges that we face. And one of the things that, I have two questions. You know, I know I've heard and seen online that some people have described the police commissioner as just a figurehead. And I'm wondering, do you view the role in that way? And if not, how do you view the role of police commissioner?
I do not view it as a figurehead. I guess I'll speak to one thing and specifically, Chief Cronin, I just mentioned the accreditation, which Malden is very lucky to have. I don't know if you mentioned that only 122 cities out of the Commonwealth have actually been accredited. So that is a huge achievement that the police department has accomplished. I'm a business owner. I own a machine shop. We just finished our ISO certification, and an ISO certification in the business world is very similar to the accreditation in the police department. It's all about processing and procedure and continuous improvement. And as you heard the chief say, one of the things that I would be doing would be signing off on the processes, procedures, changes, and making sure that that continuous improvement happens. And I expect to have, you know, lots of great conversations with the chief and the staff, you know, about those and where maybe some things could be changed or implemented. So no, I don't see it as a figurehead. That's you know, one particular place that I would, you know, kind of point out.
I appreciate that. I don't view it as a figurehead either, and I appreciate that you respect the department and the role that you are looking to assume. With that, in that passion that's very clear, what are some of your goals beyond what you just mentioned for your term as police commissioner?
One of the things that I would like to do is really understand and work with the Police Community Advisory Committee. I had a long conversation with Councilor McDonald about this, and one of the things I said to him was, you know, I want to see them evolve and find out who they are. You have 5 new people plus 2 students who are going to come together as a group, and they don't know each other. They need to learn who each other is. They need to understand what their goals and priorities are. I also said to him at the same time, as much as I would like to dive in and help them, I also know that when something like that first starts out, having a police chief or a police commissioner in the room might stop some of the conversation. As we all know as counselors, when you go into a room, what happens? The counselor kind of takes over the meeting and starts to control everything. And I don't think that's a good idea. So one of the goals I would have is to let that committee kind of gel, you know, form relationships, understand where they want to go and what they do, and then be able to be a liaison between them. And I know that the chief feels exactly the same way. He wants to be a liaison between them too. And be able to, you know, work, you know, within the police department, but also with you folks on the city council and the mayor's office. So that would be one big goal.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let's see. Councilor Sika?
You can have Council Linehan go first if you don't
Okay,
mind.
sure. All right, Councilor Linehan.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Council President. Councilor Murphy, thank you so much for being here. And I was on vacation last week when I saw this kind of breaking in the news. So I apologize. I haven't had a chance to congratulate your nomination face-to-face, so consider that now.
Thank you.
And I had kind of a similar question to Councilor O'Malley, actually. I've been so impressed with how the chief and the mayor have put resources into things like the accreditation and like taking the Obama's pledge and really putting it into an action plan. And I had a nice conversation with Councilor McDonald, recapping what you both talked about, because it was something that was important to me as well, having been on that committee. I'm curious, building on Councilor O'Malley's question about your goals, what do you see as maybe some of the key challenges ahead as we try to take on some of these major initiatives? And I love the path that the department is on right now, but the city's changing a lot. And I think it's actually one of the ways that being a counselor is very applicable to a role like this. You certainly see that there's not binary solutions often, or not binary issues in the way that we approach things in the city. It's not black and white, and there is often complexities. And, you know, what do you see as sort of the key challenges ahead?
I don't know if I'd consider it a challenge. I would say what I'd like to see and help continue is some of the work that's already going on in the police department. And one of that is, you know, creating a police department where there are, you know, the languages that are spoken in Malden, spoken in the police department. And I know that the department has already been working very hard on that. They try to have somebody on every shift, you know, that does speak one of the predominant languages of our city. That, you know, we certainly should continue. the engagement with the community. Our police department, as I said, I think they're one of the best. They do so much, whether it's public safety, or the police officers, playing basketball with the children, and supporting the schools. Actually, I'll get to supporting the schools, because that's probably my biggest goal. But making sure that the role of the police department is seen as something that is engaged within the community, and I think they do that already. I'm not sure I can help them do it more, but I certainly will offer some insight into that. One of the things over the past years, just sitting in the finance chair, and I'm going to say over the past 5 or 6 years, there was a time when the resource officers were really kind of taken out of the schools due to budget constraints. So we're going to be facing some budget issues as we come up. What I would like to see is maintain, our school resource officers, regardless of, what happens with funding. And I also think it's extremely important, it's going to be extremely important to the citizens of Malden and the safety of our streets, that when that budget crunch does come, that you remember that the police force is operating probably at the same manpower it has for many years, but yet the number of citizens in our city has grown exponentially, probably from $50,000 to over $70,000. So sometimes it's very easy to cut, police or fire. It's easy to go there. It's much harder to go to the schools. I'm not advocating going to the schools, but one of the priorities I would have is to make sure that there's adequate funding to maintain the police force that we need to make our city safe. One of the things I say to people when they say to me, do you feel safe in Malden? I always say yes. I used to walk my dog at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. I have never not felt safe walking the streets of Malden, and I want to make sure that every citizen in this city feels the same way I do. They feel they can walk out their front door and they're safe, their family's safe, their children are safe.
Thank you for that, and I hope you consider us all a resource as we work on those things.
Thank you.
All right. Counselor Seco, would you like to speak?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Council President. Barbara, you know that I think that this is an amazing opportunity for us to have you as the police commissioner. And before I make a motion to suspend council rules and confirm this appointment on the floor, I just wanted to talk about a little bit of false information that has been out there over the last week or so. And I want the public to know, maybe about 45 minutes before I showed up to this meeting, my father called me. What is going on? He must have heard something. I don't know what happened, but all this misinformation that's all over social media about how we bypassed policies and procedures and all this other stuff. And this is, we added this after we already set a meeting date, and it was an emergency meeting. We have emergency meetings all the time throughout the summer months, and sometimes if something comes up, it gets added. This wasn't a sneak attack to put this appointment on the agenda this evening. It just so happened we were meeting to go into executive session to approve some executive session minutes for a FOIA request that we received after we left for recess. And it's been 11 years that I've sat up here on the city council, and when we, the residents of Malden, vote the mayor, Gary Christensen, into office every 4 years, we give him the ability and the power to appoint whoever he sees fit into certain positions that we have throughout the city. This is not something that we bypassed a policy and a procedure for. This is something that Gary does for multiple positions throughout the city every year, multiple times a year, and usually terms of 3 years. So this is not something that we are doing sneaky at all. This is actually pretty much the way that it is. In the normally when a mayor appoints a person and has an appointment, it's a respect thing, and I've said this before when we were just discussing the planning board appointment. We are to respect the mayor's decision as to who he appoints into these positions, just like the mayor respects the work that the council does down here up on this floor. And in 11 years, the mayor has not vetoed one paper that we have put forth. He respects us enough for the work that we do down here. We should be respecting the mayor for the appointments that he brings before us. So on that note, I'm going to make a motion that we suspend council rules this evening and we confirm no longer Counselor, former Counselor Murphy's appointment as the new Malden Police Commissioner.
And we have a second by Counselor Crowe. And Counselor Spatafora does have his hand raised, so before we take up that motion, Counselor Spatafora, do you have a quick word? What do we need to do?
No, I'd like to speak.
Okay, good. All right, go ahead, Counselor Spatafora, please speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yep.
I apologize for not being able to make it. I had a prior commitment to work. I'm out of the state, and I hate seeing my face on a 25 by 25 foot screen, so I'd rather be there. You know, I do want to speak about Barbara. As somebody who had firsthand experience of seeing what a police commissioner's job is, as mentioned before, my grandfather served as the Malden Police Commissioner as one of the greatest honors of his life. And I think Chief Cronin said it well. We do not want a police officer in that position. Even though Butch was there, I think we have 100 police officers now. We don't need 101. That role is very instrumental in the fact that having somebody who is not tied to the organization and being an independent arbitrator, if you would, plays an important part of that role. I seen that when I was, a teenager, where my grandfather would deal with, individual officers based on HR issues and union issues, and he was not a Malden cop, loved him dearly, but also understood what was right and wrong. And I think that's the importance of having a commissioner. The second thing is, I think Councilor Murphy and her record and her reputation, both as a business owner, as a counselor, as a citizen of Malden, as a mother, and as a wife, does not have to be even broached upon the respect I have for her. And I think she will be a great mantle to carry the torch of the previous police commissioners and probably do a better job looking at it from a different lens. And I'm very excited that we have the opportunity now to put a female in that position. That being said, I do want to hit upon a few things. What disturbed me about I saw these emails that were floating around was, one, and I've said this publicly before, I do not use social media because I don't believe everything on that. And I'm glad the police force is there in the audience today. There were several emails that hinted or came out basically in one point said police brutality. I don't know what is being said on social media about the Malden police force, but I was very upset to say that there is some police brutality happening in the city of Malden. I've seen these men and women act every day. They do it professionally. We're not in the news, and for somebody to be out there spreading rumors like that is not an insult to me. It's an insult to the entire Malden police force, the men and women in this community. Because Malden is not one of those communities, and I found that very disturbing. The other thing I want to hit upon, because I'm actually the one who created the ordinance that was mentioned in emails from a previous counselor, is this vote is nothing but, the no vote that just came out was nothing but pure political. That's what it is. The mayor, regardless if it's Gary Christensen, anybody else in this council, or some future person, the mayor has the sole responsibility to pick his or her administration. They've been doing it since the beginning of time. They do it at the federal and the state level. Those jobs are determined by the mayor. It makes sense. You're the administrator, you get to pick out your chief of staff, you get to pick out your individual team. There are jobs that report to the city council where not only we get to confirm, but we decide who those individuals are. And we've gone round and round in terms of charter control on how that sits. But the mayor has the ability to appoint. And the idea that we're going to take that power of the mayor is just, it's wrong, it's indecisive, and it's downright foolishness. Because who wants to become a mayor and you cannot hire your own team? Councilor Hayes stated the ordinance requires the position to be posted. False. I created the ordinance. Simply wrong. As the author of the ordinance, I am well intent I'm well aware of the intent. First of all, we cannot civil service jobs are a different animal altogether, right? We don't control them. There are boards and commissions that we do publish. Those are required to be published. The ordinance was created in a response where a family member had been hired for an actual job that was never posted on any website and nobody knew they existed. And not only do I agree with that, so did state ethics. And if we think the difference between having this is considered a job, right? This is the Malden Police Commissioner determined to be controlled by the mayor, just like the fire commissioner. The ordinance was created so that jobs be posted. Now, if we want to explain to everybody what a board or a commission role with a simple stipend isn't a job, that's fine. We can debate that all day long. But the intent here is that the mayor gets to appoint his or her positions. That's why we have equal branches of government. We get to choose some people. He gets to choose some individuals, or that role does. This is political payback. That's all this is. Doesn't matter if it was Barbara Murphy or somebody else. That's all this is about. And what I find my favorite word, I'm going to start getting t-shirts, is there was no transparency in this. Again, this came from the individual, the counselor, who is in charge of the community engagement committee that does not allow the public to speak. That is the very essence of transparency. So it doesn't matter if it was counselor, if it was Barbara Murphy, if it was Craig Spadafora, if it was any individual, it was going to be a no. But to cloud the public's perception that this is not being done in the right, we're rushing, Barbara's not right for the job, there's police brutality, it's a downright lie. And the problem I have with this,
Councilor
it's
Spadafora.
creating havoc.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we do have some time constraints here. So right now, the only lights are for councilors who have spoken, and we do have the motion from Councilor Sika to basically suspend rules and go to a vote to appoint. As pointed out under our rules, council whole meetings, we can make referrals, but it's not typically that we would approve something on the floor, so we'd have to make that suspension of the rules. So I would ask that we take a roll call on that motion that's been placed and seconded about. All right, Councilor O'Malley speaking on the motion to suspend the rules. All right, 1 second.
So I think that I don't want the process to overshadow what should be a really historic night. I think that appointing the first female police commissioner in our city's history should not have the type of cloud that I personally feel is currently over this process, and whether it's justified or not justified, I don't think it's fair to the appointed individual or to the community, which is one of the reasons why I'm hesitant to suspend the rules, particularly because we're doing this in the middle of summer, particularly because this has been listed as a committee of the whole where there's no public comment, even though we have a number of people in the audience who I would personally like to hear from. We kind of are under time pressure because we have a planning board meeting that starts in a half hour. I don't think that it necessarily conveys the respect that this process and the individual deserves. That said, I am in support of the appointment, and I will be voting in favor of it. I do want to clarify that our ordinance does require the posting of all positions, and I understand that even though the position only has a $5,000 salary or stipend or however you want to define it, it is still a position. Again, I don't view it as a figurehead. The potential appointed official does not view it as a figurehead. I don't think that we should be treating it so lightly. And I also want to clarify that the mayor is not the sole appointing authority. I'm not going to read the whole charter, but it's very clear that the appointing authority is the council and the mayor. It's both of us together. And I just think that is why I don't know if I can support suspending the rules tonight. I also looked into the charter, and my understanding is that there is currently an acting commissioner. I believe from my reading of the charter, the acting commissioner is actually the police chief at the moment as the next highest ranking officer in the city. I just want to express that because whether or not I support suspending the rules tonight is not a reflection of whether or not I support your appointment. I do support your appointment. I'm just concerned with the process and how it appears and the fact that this should be a really celebratory, historic moment. I hope you can tell that I'm being sincere when I say that. Thank you.
Right, Councilor Colon-Hayes.
Thank you. I was actually going to speak to that also, to say I would love to sit here and be congratulating you as well. I can't say enough that the negativity from these counselors is hard to hear because it's about the process. That's it. I can't say it enough. It's not about the person. I respect you. It's not about that at all. It's strictly about the fact that this was not, it's done in the middle of summer. We are supposed to be publicly posting our positions. End of the story. That is it. So it has nothing to do with you. And I agree, Councilor O'Malley, thank you for saying that, because we should all be standing up here and clapping. And the fact that a lot of community members started passing this around, I was actually away too, I didn't see it, I only saw it because it was being spread around. But now that you spoke and people are listening, they're probably getting a better idea, but I would rather have it be like a unanimous vote and a congratulations. So sorry that others have, their negativity to say. I just can't say enough that it's not about the person, it's the process, that is all. I respect you, and I hope that we can have a unanimous vote. Thank you.
All right. Councilor Crowe, you have your light on? Do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right.
I think suspending the rules and confirming right now is the right decision. As we talk about the process, the ordinance that keeps coming up is about salaried, really, and hourly employees in the city clerk's office, in the senior center, and any place else, not for the appointments. And so that is a different one. It does not have to be posted. It happens to be posted with the city council because we don't have one person that has sole appointing authority. We have to do that as a group. So we put it out there and ask for people. The mayor is the sole person. He gets to choose the process he wants. Most often he puts them out there. Sometimes he doesn't. He doesn't have to. He's not bound by that. And if we sent this to personnel and appointments, this is the most people we've ever had at a personnel and appointments committee. We're on TV, we're all here, and we've never allowed, we usually don't even have this much time to talk to the people that we interview. So I think we've had the vetting process. It is his sole responsibility to act. He can put it out there if he wants to. He might have talked to a lot of people. I'm sure that he put a lot of thought into it. I'm sure he vetted it thoroughly. I'm sure he had consultation with lots of different people, and this is the decision he's made. I think it is, it really is, we should be celebratory, but we've had the most people here for this meeting that we don't even allow them to speak at the personnel and appointments meeting. They can come in here, but there's not ever this many people that hear and come hear the candidate and hear the questions that the council has asked. So I am fully in support of suspending the dark rules and confirming Barbara Murphy as the next police commissioner.
So, all right, so I have a couple more lights, and but I know Councilor Colin Hayes, you've already spoken 3 times about, so I think at this point no lights. So let's take the roll call vote.
This is a motion to suspend the council rules by Councilor Seega, seconded by Councilor Crowe. Councilor Cologne Hayes. Councilor Condon.
Suspend the rules.
Yes or no? Yes. What did she vote?
Councilor Cologne Hayes said yes to suspend the council rules. Councilor Condon.
Yes.
Councilor Crowe.
Yes.
Councilor Linehan.
Yes.
Councilor O'Malley. No. Councilor Seega.
Yes.
Councilor Spatafora.
Yes.
Councilor Taylor. Yes. Council President Winslow.
Yes.
The rules have been suspended.
Rules suspended. So just to be clear, what we are going to vote on next is to, this is appointment to the remainder of the term. So that's just to be clear. So that term expires in March 1st, 2026. So there will be Councilor Murphy, soon to be Commissioner Murphy perhaps, will be back for us in a short time. So clerk will call the roll for
This
the
is the
appointment.
motion to confirm by Councilor Seega, seconded by Councilor Crowe. Councilor Cologne Hayes. No. Councilor Condon.
Yes.
Councilor Crowe.
Yes.
Councilor Linehan.
Yes.
Councilor O'Malley.
Yes.
Councilor Seega.
Yes.
Councilor Spatafora.
Yes.
Councilor Taylor.
Yes.
Council President Winslow.
Yes. The
Thank you, everyone. I promise to do you proud and make you not regret that decision,
All
so
right.
thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember. So let's, next order of business. Thank you.
Paper number 308-24, order that the City Council will vote to go into executive session with legal counsel for the city in accordance with Exemption 7, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements in order to act on the periodic review of those executive session minutes listed herein. Council vote is required prior to
All right.
release of the executive session minutes
Please,
on the following dates.
all right, okay.
We're
All
plowing
right, keep
through.
going.
September 3rd, 2013, October 17th, 2013, October 22nd, 2013, February 4th, 2014. In such,
All right. Okay. All right. Okay, come on.
in so convening in executive session, the City Council will act under the Open Meeting Law, MGL, Chapter 30A, Section 22G2, to determine whether the executive session minutes referenced above warrant continued non-disclosure, and if so allowed by the body, to admit Maria Louise, Special Assistant to the Mayor, roll call required, and I will note that Maria Louise is not in attendance this evening, so we will not be voting on that. We're just voting to go into executive
So
session.
on Councilor Sika's motion to go into executive session and adopt the order, seconded by Councilor Taylor. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Cologne Hayes. Councilor Condon. Councilor Crowe. Yes. Councilor Linehan. Yes. Councilor McDonald. Oh, sorry. Councilor O'Malley. Yep. Councilor Sika. Councilor Spatafora.
Yes.
Councilor Taylor. Yes. Council President Winslow.
Yes. The council will now enter into executive session. This meeting will be recessed to the call of the chair, and so the council will not be convening after the completion of the executive session. The planning board will actually be coming in here, so we will not be coming back. We will see that, but there will be a planning board and a rules and ordinance meeting after.
How are you?